Hello everyone and welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you are a recurring viewer. So today I have a more complex piece that I have worked on. The video is a day late simply because this took way longer than initially expected. And there's also a break in the video because at some point I paused my video software and forgot to re-enable it. So yeah, I simply forgot to put it back on. This today's video is about a dress that I made, and you can already see in the picture that this dress has a lot of smaller detail. One thing that I want to do is basically go to the point where I create more detailed and better models. Many of the models that I have made are very simple in a way that I do not really think is still working for the level of content that I do. So I'm trying to go into more detail to give this more accentuation, to give this more pieces, which is interesting, but it also makes making the videos a bit more challenging, simply because I need more time for more or less the same amount of output. As you may notice, this is not a lots of magic video. I'm not pausing this per se. This is something that I wanted to try, and I will tell you in a bit why. The lots of magic stuff will resume either this week or this weekend, so I'll definitely finish the next set this month, and I plan to actually finish the whole thing because there's only 2 sets still missing. Yeah, why I want to do something else is very simple. Over the last week and the weekend I started playing, or mostly last week, I started playing around with AI art generation. It's something that I have talked about in another video, and at this point I was just curious to see if I can use AI art to generate ideas, because last week I noticed that I'm kind of out of ideas. I have a lot of reference material flying around, but just recreating something that is already there is interesting, but not what I initially wanted. So I decided I'm going to play around with image generation and just create the clothing, the models that I see. So yeah, I decided to try that, and I got a few interesting results playing around with various prompts, playing around with different models, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. So I decided I'm doing one of the prompts that I had as a model, which is incidentally this dress, and I'm thinking about making this one a whole set with some additional gloves, with some additional footwear, any boots or something else. And yeah, this is something that I'm currently looking into. How well can I use that as a creative source, so I have some ideas that I can visualize with image generation before I actually make a model. Because sometimes making the model from scratch with just an idea in my head is kind of complicated, because then I usually end up to the point where I say, okay, I've done enough and I'm already working 2 hours on this and I'm not going for any more details, because I would have to think of them. And in this case, the ideas are more or less there. I can just take them and model them. Yeah, you can see that I'm working on the ornaments here, the smaller details on the metal brim of the dress. And this is a kind of a new technique. It's not that new, but it is something that I started to make. You can see this is an intermediate version of the dress that I actually rendered, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to make a bit more detail. So again, I forgot to restart the model, the video software. And what you can see, what I'm doing is I'm using the line tool here. You can use the line tool symmetrical, and if you can draw a line with the tool, which is what I initially did. But if you want to work on, for example, on a round object like here around the hip, you eventually have to stop with drawing the line, because it's very hard to draw the line around the whole body. What I'm doing is I'm extending the line by adding additional points with the cutting tool. What is set on X, the tessellate tool basically, which lets me add new points. And you can see that intermediately I'm also putting the points on the model, so that this is basically hovering at the same height as the underlying brim, which is currently black, so that I can see the white line that I'm drawing. So if you ever want to do this, it is mostly moving around the point, using the tessellate tool to cut a new point in between, close to the end, and then moving around all the parts. Yeah, the next step would be thickening this whole thing. After I placed all the points correctly, you can see this is what I'm doing right now. Just making sure that all the points are aligned with the girdle or belt or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And then you have a very simple but effective detail. I also made a new chain piece. This is a relatively flat. You can see this is actually just one piece, and it has a greater ring and a smaller ring. This is something that I saw and that I came up with. And I decided to, you know that if you watch my other videos, you know that I tend to enjoy and use chains a lot as an ornament or as a jewelry piece. So yeah, I'll probably copy paste one of these, or I most likely will redo one of these chain links for my file with chain links, so that I can quicker import this one to the to new projects. I also incidentally made this one very flat, at least the smaller ring is very flat, so that I can easily align this one around the around whatever I want to do with it. Yeah, I'm using a curve here, so the line, the curve tool from the line tool set is something that I sometimes use if I do these curved lines, if I use, for example, chains or something similar. because it helps me align all the pieces. You can also see that I'm using the selection coordinates of the piece I'm working on for the chains. This makes it much simpler to align these chains with the actual model. And that's it for this video. Tell me if you like the new idea, tell me if you like the new content, the new way of working on this. The render is just around the corner, and as always, everyone stay healthy, stay safe, and hopefully I will see you guys around.